Sports Radio 103. All sports, all the time.
Watch me as I dance under the spotlight. Listen to the people screaming on more and more. Cause I create the feeling that keep them coming back. Yeah, I create the feeling that keep them coming back. So captivating when I get it on the floor. Know y'all been patiently waiting. I know you need me. I can feel it. I'm a beast. I'm an animal. I'm that monster in the mirror. The headliner, finisher. I'm the closer, winner. That's when under pressure with seconds left. I show up. If you really want more, scream it out loud.
Welcome, everybody. I am in Showtime Tuesday. That's right, TUESDAY. In case you guys are wondering, Tuesday is the day right after Monday, and of course, the day before Wednesday. And of course, as promised, I have the legend. And I didn't even know, first of all, Mother Cynthia Pratt, welcome to Sports Radio 103. I was thinking about the introduction as to how would I introduce you to our general listeners. But to be honest with you, I mean, there are so many things. I'll probably be here for the next half hour continuing to say some of the things that, of course, is affiliated to Cynthia Mother Pratt and some of the contribution that she made. But good to see you here at Sports Radio.
It's good to be here, my brother.
As always. And I must say it's always a pleasure to see you. And, of course, your work and all the things that you did for sports, it goes without saying. I mean, when we talk about sports and from a female perspective, Mother Cynthia Pratt comes to mind to everybody, from softball, you name it. Mother Cynthia Pratt, a sports icon in this country. Welcome to Sports Radio, man.
Well, thanks for having me, my brother. Thank you.
Now, let me just first ask you, Mother Cynthia Pratt, what are you doing now? I mean, you're retired. You're just enjoying life. There's nothing in particular that you have on the drawing board as far as whether it's sports or politics, or not too much of a politics, but with sports.
Well, I'm involved now, really, with the urban renewal.
Okay,
and that is something that is very promising in the country, and it will help a whole lot of people. Yes.
And I must say, being affiliated with some of the things that the urban renewal did in terms of a couple of summer programs, the basketball tournament, I must say, caps goes off. You know, and for the life of me, I always say things like this is what we need to continue to strive and work on. But for some reason, some people feel like we don't need it. Put it on the back burner or something like that.
Just ignore those kind of people. Just ignore them because they have no idea. They don't have a clue about what it means to build a country. Yeah. And so I just ignore that kind of statement, because if you have come from where I've come from and know what sports has done for the thousands that are down there in the gutter, and many that's there now hoping to get out. Sports is the way. It's the way. And it has helped so many, and it has proven to be the tool to bring nations together. Indeed. And so if it's bringing nations together, just before we begin, I'd like to begin with a word of prayer.
Oh, by your own means. Go right ahead, folks. Go right ahead.
Our Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you now for the moment. We thank you for the opportunity that we can discuss sports in the country. Thank you, Lord, for the many who have been able to benefit from sports in this country. And we thank you for the host, because you've given him the vision that he's able to reach out and try to bring people together as one. We give you praise and glory now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Boy, I tell you, wonderful. What a way to start. I've never started my program that way, but I appreciate that. Great input. Now, Mother Cynthia Pratt, so many people today had said to me personally, I mean, from people like, and I got to call some names now, people like Jeannie Bubble Miners, some of the girls who played softball and basketball many years, all of them could have said that Mother Cynthia Pratt had some influence on their lives, whether it's to assist them with getting off to college, or just that person that when they need somebody to talk to or to help to guide them to make certain decisions, Mother Cynthia Pratt was always there. Tell us about what really gave you that incentive, that motive to say, you know what, I want to help these young people. I want to be I want to be there for them when they need someone to talk to, when they're ready to make good decisions, or make decisions for that matter. You could help them to make good decisions. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's important for me to remember that somebody had to reach out to me.
Yeah.
And when you look at where most of us, when I say most of us, that's over the hill.
Yeah.
You're a little young to know what over the hill really means,
Okay. Okay.
But when we say over the hill, we always talk about the people from the inner city.
The grassroots.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we came along because somebody took time out
Right.
to talk to us. Mm-hmm. Somebody took time out to guide us. Somebody took time out to show us that we were going the wrong way.
Right. Yeah.
And so when you realize that people who did it didn't have to do it because they had it made, so to speak, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have to take time out with a little barefoot girl or a little poor family, and they're not going anywhere. My family is fixed and we got it made. And no, but many of them took time out and said, listen, no, that's not the right thing to do.
Right.
I want to help you. I want to show you the right path to go. And so when I think of people like Leviticus Adley, who saw the gift in me, and he took time out to mentor me and to help me to understand that there was something good in me, because I saw nothing good in me.
Yeah.
That is why I take time out to see the good in other kids and try to encourage them and bring them along, because they feel like I felt.
Yes.
There was no hope. Nobody saw my world. Who were concerned about my world. And so when you see people take time out for me, then I have to take time out for others. And that's so important in building this country. That's what it's about. Friend helping friend, mentoring people, encouraging people. And when that happens, you would see a different world. You will see a different Bahamas. Because when you speak a kind word into the life of somebody and demonstrate love to them, you will see the attitude of that person begin to change. Because they finally realize that somebody believes in them. Somebody has seen some good in them. That's what builds a country.
Wow. Guys, 676-4153. 676-4199. Talking Sports. Ivan Showtime, and of course I have the icon, the legend, whatever you want to call her. Mother Cynthia Pratt is here with me, and we're talking sports. We'll be here for the next maybe hour and a half or so. We invite your calls. Those of you want to call in, 676-4153, 676-4199. Now, Mother Cynthia Pratt, you talk about Leviticus Adley.
Yes.
Is that where it initially started for you? Tell us about some of the days of yesteryear, so to speak.
Well, what has really happened is I grew up at a time when certainly sports for females was almost a no-no.
Yeah.
You must understand, you couldn't jump, you couldn't throw, you couldn't, because that's a boy thing.
Yeah.
And so your parents would beat you almost every day because you were throwing a ball, you were jumping, you were hopping, because girls were supposed to cook and wash and clean. And yes, the boys do the running and the jumping and all that. So I grew up at a time when there was not much encouragement, particularly from family. And not parents. My parents were out of it because my mother never saw me compete. Never. No, never. Wow. And so I came along at a time when the boys in my house, because I came from a family of a large number of brothers. Just 3 sisters, but there were 13 boys. And so my brother Ed, Ed was very talented in baseball and things like that. But I had other brothers who were talented in swimming and diving, because my brothers were the ones who started this diving off the cruise ships from the very top into the water for the coins that the tourists used to throw. It was George and Kingsley. And those were 2 of my older brothers. And so we were a family that was talented, and we thank God for the talents that were in our family. But Ed was the one who really was the baseball player. He played with the Houston Astros.
I'm familiar with Ed. The catcher, he was a catcher for about 8-9 years.
Oh yes, Ed actually won 3 batting titles. Yes,
I'm familiar with
and he was at a time with Pete Rose and Joe Morgan. Remember now, they called up one black because Ed was black and he was foreign. So you must understand. He had two strikes. Only one he struck out. But because he was such a outstanding player, because he can hit, he can throw, and he can run, he was supposed to have been called up that year.
Okay.
And I think they called him Joe Morgan.
Yeah.
And Ed, of course, decided he'll come home. He just got tired of waiting because he kept winning batting titles, and they were supposed to call him up, but they didn't call him. He just came home.
And this was back in the day, and I don't want to, make it sound bad or anything. And this was back in the day when the black and white
racism was
strong.
Oh, strong. No question about it.
So in actuality, you had to been maybe 3-4 times as good as the, so to speak, quote unquote, the white boys.
No question about that. And that is why he came home, because he knew that he was far better. He's already proven it. The records are there.
Right.
And he was supposed to be called up, because many times, he couldn't eat in the restaurants. He had to stay across the railroad track because he couldn't go with the team, because the team was a white team. And we're talking about then. You know. And so it's important for us to understand where we've come from and what we had to come through in order to accomplish what we have thus far. And so I went after Ed a lot, because he played baseball, and I would go down to the Clifford Park, because they used to play baseball at that time at Clifford Park.
Oh boy, you went way back.
Oh yes, yes. They had Mary Kelly and I Need a Laundry and the CBs and St. Bernard's, and Lou Adley was a member of St. Bernard's.
Okay,
but he also was a gifted man, because remember, Lou Adley at the time he went to college, he went on a wrestling scholarship.
Oh, was that right? Now that's news to me.
Wrestling. He was a tennis player, but he was also an outstanding wrestling athlete, and of course, basketball was his thing. And so, when he came back from school, he then started to coach, of course, the St. Bernard's basketball team, of which he then discovered me wandering around the Prairie. I was not a part of anything.
Yeah, you're talking about St. Bernard's with Fred Papa Smith and those,
exactly.
Yeah.
And
ooh, boy,
this
John
Todd and Peter Brown and those, exactly.
Boy, this is some good history right here.
Sterling Quant and all those were around at the time.
And speaking of Sterling Quant, as a matter of fact, he was in studio with me a couple of days ago.
Oh, right.
And he was talking about those Cougars and Colonel days and all that stuff. But man, I tell you, just sitting down here now, I'm getting a whole mouthful of some of the history that goes along with Mother Cynthia Pratt. Now tell us, you were considered as maybe a 3 or 4 sport athlete. Tell us about all the different sport that you played and how well you played those sports.
Well, actually, I started out with the love of basketball. That was really my heart. And when you came to the Prairie grounds, there were just a couple of girls, and I was among the boys.
Now, name some of the girls who you played against, because I'm trying right here now. I'm sitting down. I'm thinking girls like Naomi. Naomi didn't play basketball.
No. Naomi was not
softball.
Yes, Naomi was. Naomi came later.
She came later. Okay.
Yes.
Give us some.
We're talking at that time was Angie Sawyer. Angie was green. Sawyer's studio. She got married to the young man who owned Sawyer's studio.
Right there on East Street.
Exactly.
Yes,
Angie, she was green at the time.
Okay.
And then there was Veronica Adley, who was Mr. Lou Adley's sister.
Okay.
Then you had Willa Mae Ferguson. I don't know if you remember Butkus, Jesse Butkus Ferguson. Yes. That was his sister, Willa Mae and Julie.
Okay.
So, and then it was Winnie Russell. Winnie was a Russell, but I'm talking about Peter, not a Bethel. Peter Bell, who was the member of parliament, his sisters, Ellie and Betty.
Yes.
They were the stars on the team.
Okay, the tall, bright one.
Yes, yes.
She's a lawyer now.
Exactly.
Yes,
Winnie's a lawyer now.
I remember. Boy, I tell you. Shadi, you're recording this stuff? This is some good stuff, man. Listen, folks, the phone lines are open. Those of you who want to join the conversation. And maybe some of the names that Mother Cynthia Pratt is calling, you can maybe identify with, so you can give us a call. Go ahead.
Then of course, there were Patsy Taylor. Patsy was Sherman. I remember, if you remember, C.A. Taylor of
Nassau Street.
His sister Patsy, she was one of our better guards.
Is that right?
Because remember now, we used to play the rover at the time before we went full court.
Okay.
So you could only run to the half court, but I was always a rover. I did the entire court because I played offense and defense.
Wow.
And so when we look back then, and Betty Cole and all
Betty
of those
Cole
was around at
yes,
that time.
Yes,
she had her team,
right.
And of course there was also Jackie Barnett. Jackie Barnett, I think, is a lawyer.
Jackie Barnett.
Yes, but Jackie has another name.
She
now.
Married into Barnett.
Yes, I think that would. But she
Who
was.
am I thinking? The only Jackie, but that's much. She's much younger. I'm thinking Jackie Conyers, but
no, not Jackie Conyers.
Jackie's
much
too young. Yeah,
Jackie and those came when we had the gym. They don't know anything but the Prairie Grounds. They're young kids.
She came out playing volleyball. Her and her sister,
exactly,
great volleyball players.
Exactly.
Yeah, boy.
But there are many other names. I can't recall all of them right now. But as we go along, but there was Barbara Cumberbatch. She was Barbara. Exactly. She's Barbara Albury. Well, Barbara was one of our stronger defensive players. Oh, yes.
Okay.
She could defend.
Big strong girl.
Yeah,
Ooh.
she could defend. And so we were St. Bernard's. Then they of course had about 4 or 5 teams. It was never that many female teams.
Okay.
But it was at the time they had a lot of male teams because they had the CBs. They had St. Bernard's. They had SAC.
Yeah.
You know, they said they got
to
college.
School,
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the guys who went out on the fort and played baseball or softball, at one point they used to be right here to Guy Funkel. Also,
that was the softball. Yeah, Guy Funkel. They played softball there.
Softball there, and then they moved. Eventually, they moved down to Fort Charlotte.
Yes, Fort Charlotte is where they played baseball. You see.
Okay.
Remember now, they played baseball and then they played cricket out to Windsor Park. That used to be a cricket pitch.
Right. I remember that.
And of course, they when we moved, we played softball also at Clifford Park.
Right.
I remember pitching the first no run game in softball at Clifford Park.
You pitched it?
Yes, sir.
And you pitched at the time you was pitching for?
I was for St. Bernard's.
St. Bernard's.
Yes.
And you remember the name of the team that you?
I don't remember. No, I don't remember who it was, but I remember it being the first no hit. No, because someone got on base. I walked somebody.
Yeah.
And that's why it wasn't a perfect game.
Right, but it was a no-hitter. Wow.
Yes.
Anyway, 29 and a half after the 4 o'clock hour. Folks, what can I say? Today is a special day. We have Mother Cynthia Pratt in studios with us. We'll take a quick break, go to the phone lines. When we come back, I see the lines are all lit up. So hang on for us, man. We're going to take some of your calls. Ivan Showtime, Talking Sports. We'll take a break. I'll be back after this. Stay close, everybody.
Dance under the spotlight, listen to the people screaming on more.
Sports Radio 103. All sports, all the time.
Welcome back, everybody. Ivan Showtime, and boy, what a day! I'm telling you, we're really going back in time, man. We're going way back. Ivan Showtime, hanging out with Mother Cynthia Pratt, and I must say, so far, Mother Cynthia Pratt, I'm glad we're recording this because I'm gonna go back over this and try to remember some of the names that you mentioned, and of course, some of the times that you guys had down there at the fort, and then when y'all moved softball from the fort, y'all went to.
When we moved we went down to JFK.
JFK.
Yes.
JFK was some good days.
Because remember now, we shared the fort, which is Fort Charlotte, and Southern Recreation Grounds, because we had a number of games. So sometimes we played game 1 here and game 2, like that.
Okay.
And then we moved down to JFK. Yes, but we actually started at St. Joseph Park. Now, don't get that's where softball, female softball, Boyd Road.
Boyd Road, okay.
That's where we started.
Yeah, okay.
The first year we played there, and then we moved to Southern Recreation Grounds.
Okay.
And then we shared it with Fort Charlotte before we moved down to JFK.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the JFK days.
Well, you know, man, listen, the JFK days really saw women's softball come alive.
Yeah.
Because we had gotten to the place where we played feature games, because the ladies who were bringing the crowd to the park,
they were that good.
Oh yes, we were. Whenever we played against Daisy Walker,
I remember Daisy
Walker's team.
Yeah, top of the evening to you, Daisy, if you're listening in.
Whenever Daisy's team played our team, we had a number of sponsors. Sometimes we were backs, not backs. We were
Crows?
Appleton.
Appleton.
We were Appleton Stars.
Who managed the team?
Baylor, Bobby Fernando.
Oh, Bobby Baylor Fernando, the best coach alive, I would say. Yes, indeed.
And so it was Bobby Fernando. Then of course we had, and that was Jim Malone, who sponsored us. No, we were Appleton, because Bex was another thing. That was Glennis and those. Because they always had Bex, but Bex was a different team from our team.
Yeah.
But it was always Lynn Ford and Daisy those against myself and of course we had Naomi
Ellis,
yes,
but Linda
Ellis.
Ford and those eventually they turned into the Kalina Crows,
right? It was Kalina against Appleton, and that was the night. That was that.
I remember that. Y'all cost Ali Culmer a lot of sleepless nights.
Oh yes.
And by the way, top of the evening to Ali Culmer, one of the best coaches. I was just a little boy coming down to the park then, and I do agree with you when you talk about how exciting those games was, and the kind of support that softball got from the fans back then. I mean, the cars start from on Thompson Boulevard.
You're talking about standing room only. Standing room only.
Man, let me tell you, at the time, was Gabo Coakley?
Gabo was the
president. Yes, I can
was
remember
the president at the time.
You used to tease Gabo. At least they used to tease Gabo a 5-pack.
Yeah.
Because he would say, take out your kickets, get ready for a 6-pack. We're giving away a 6-pack. But when you win, don't look for no 6-pack. You can get a 5-pack because Gabo get his one. By the way, top of the evening to you, Gabo Coakley. And you guys, Madison to Pratt, you guys did something to the sport.
Yes.
That for some reason, we don't get it no more.
Well, back then, we ate, sleep, drink softball.
Yeah.
We were, well, of course, most of us were on the national team. And later on, we were third in the world. We were ranked third in the world.
Yeah, boy,
really, we should have been number 2 in the world. No, we lost. United States defeated us 3-0. But I know we're better than Canada.
Yeah.
We just lost. We were shutting Canada out at the bottom of the 7th in a routine fly ball.
Wow.
And Bobby just dropped it. I mean, I don't know. She's an excellent outfielder.
She got anxious.
Just dropped it. Yeah. And we end up losing that by 1 run. So they got the silver and we end up with the bronze. But we are far better than they are. And I know that at that time, we were number 2 in the world.
When you talk about being number 2 in the world, you're talking about some of the ladies that you play against coming on one team, like Linda Ford and Naomi Ellis. We talk about...
But let me just say this because I think a lot of people don't know this. But at the time, Linda Ford was not our ace pitcher.
Linda Ford was not the ace pitcher?
No, sir. Alice Wells was our ace pitcher.
Alice Wells.
Yeah. Alice Wells was a powerful pitcher.
Yeah. Wow.
And she had a variety of pitchers, even though Linda Ford is a great pitcher.
Right.
But at the time, Alice Wells was the ace. Ernestine Butler, and of course...
call her the big... And Ernestine is still playing now.
Yes.
You know what? Every year I get to talk with Ernestine. I say, Ernestine, you playing this year?
Yeah.
No, man, that's it for me. I ain't playing no more. And then when the season starts...
she's there.
I mean, I must give her credit, though.
Yes.
She worked with the younger players, and that's something that we need in the sport.
Yes.
We need some of the older folks to continue to pass it on to the younger generation. And I see her working out with the team. And several times, I asked her, I said, Ernestine, you tell me you ain't playing no more. You play. And she said, no, man, I working out with my girls. I getting my girls ready. Yeah. And before you know it, she can't take it no more. She's going out there and she pitching again. So I want to say to Ernestine, continue on, Ernestine. Yeah. What can I say, man? We call her the big horse, and believe you me, she is the big horse. And Bobby Baylor Fernando, who's a coach right now, he has a lot of confidence in her. Because when it comes down to the big game, Bobby will tell you, man, I need Ernestine to go out there because the veteran leadership that she's going to give to the whole entire team is priceless. You know, I mean, the younger pitchers, they're okay too, but then sometimes you need that veteran to kind of steer the ship, to lead them.
Well, the thing about Bobby is that Bobby always knew how to put the chemistry together. That's what made him such a great coach. Because he would see in someone who they didn't see in themselves, and he know how to fit the pieces together in there to make it work. And Bobby would always allow certain senior persons to have some say. And so the younger players would know the veteran players are also helping to lead lead the team. And in 1981 is actually when won the bronze medal in Santa Clara, California.
Okay.
And I can remember the prime minister at the time was Sir Lyndon Pinling.
Yeah.
And he was en route coming back from London. And he stopped over to watch us perform
in California.
Wow. And we always
one thing I could say, and I don't want to sound political or anything like
yes.
that, but one thing I could say with the former prime minister, of course, the Godfather himself,
yes.
Sir Lyndon Pinling,
yeah.
is when it comes to sports, he showed that interest, man.
Yes.
He was always a part of sports, regardless of what the circumstances was.
Because remember, the minister of sports as numero uno.
Yes,
that is Minister Nottage. He was with him. He
all
was the one. Oh yes, and he was fully behind.
Now
us.
y'all had a coach. With the ladies team, Gully Pinder.
Oh yes,
Gully Pinder
out of Grand Bahama. Yes.
Oh, I watched Gully run a few practices.
Yes.
He just worked those girls.
Oh yes.
Hard.
It was Gully Pinder. It was Baylor, and of course there was Parks, Livingston Parks. I don't know if you remember Parks. Parks was also part of the team, and then Churchill Tenor Knowles was not the coach, but Churchill was the administrator.
Right.
But Churchill was so valuable.
Yeah.
Churchill is actually the one that helped to defray the expenses of many of the players who couldn't afford to go because we didn't. You remember now, we didn't have the funding like that. They bought many tickets. He and King Snake. Don't forget King Snake out of Eleuthera.
Yes.
He also played a vital role.
Yes.
And Ben, I can't remember Ben's last name, but
from where?
Out of Eleuthera as well. We used to call him People to People.
Okay.
And his name, Brother Ben, I know you're listening. The boy, I forgot your last name now.
Well, but I tell you what, somebody out there might remember remember Ben's last name.
Yeah.
If you can, give us a call. 6764153. Go ahead. Sorry.
And so the thing is, once we got into Santa Clara, we realized that we were at the World Championships. Now, remember now, that is different from the Olympics.
Yeah.
The World Championships is where the best teams compete against each other. It's not like you all right, let's look at, say for instance, you have to qualify in the 100 meters and then you will move you qualify for the Olympics. No, the best teams at the top. So that's what the World Championships are about.
Yeah, it's similar to what we just had a couple of days ago. Yeah,
this was the best on Moscow. The best, going up against the best.
Right.
And so the 4 top countries in the world were squaring off in women's softball.
And back then it used to be United States, Canada, the Bahamas. Who else used to be?
China.
Yes.
Yes.
We were on that kind of level back in the day.
Yes, sir. And the thing is that we were so powerful in terms of a small nation. Because, just look at us. You could barely see us on the map.
Yeah.
But here we are standing with these giants. And we had such great hitters.
Yeah.
They couldn't, because it was Daisy Walk. Daisy's one of our better hitters. Then, of course, you had Naomi Ellis. Myself, I always batted around cleanup or third cleanup somewhere in that area. And then we had Nell Wild Goose and Ann Wild Goose out of Freeport.
Okay.
You see, Candice de Gregory was always a daring girl. You could hardly, she'll dare you and she'll get on. You just couldn't do that.
Yeah, she can bunt. You could.
Yes,
she'll square around. You come right, and she can still bunt. I remember Candice.
Exactly. Then we had Kay Moxie always, who bat in the number 2 spot because she was always instrumental in hitting behind the runner.
Okay,
she really had that gift, and so she normally was Candice, Kay, then either Daisy or myself, Naomi, or Nell up in that area. We were always either 3, 4, 5 somewhere, but the meat of our lineup was down in that order. Wow. And so you can hardly get all of us out. No, you had a long night.
Yeah,
you had a long night.
You guys together could put together 1 or 2 runs and make something happen.
Area, we were always either 3, 4, 5 somewhere, but the meat of our lineup was down in that order, and so you can hardly get all of us out. No, you had a long night. Yeah, you had a long night.
You guys together could put together 1 or 2 runs and make something happen.
But the thing is, we were not always that way, because the first year we went to Belize. Central America, and we came back 0-all. Just however many games we played, that's how many we lost. We didn't win a game, and we were destroyed. And I don't mean losing 1-0.
Yeah.
We were getting beat like 10-zip. But we came back, and we came back with a good attitude.
Yeah.
We came back knowing that we were no level. We were no match for these people, not at this level.
Yeah.
And I remember Baylor. It was at that time Jim Wood. Jim Wood was the coach then, not Baylor.
Not Baylor.
No, it was Jim Wood. Jim Wood took us there first.
When y'all didn't win no
went
game.
to Belize.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And we came back. We were playing at Sudden Recreation Grounds at the time. And they brought in, you remember Charlie Mortimer?
Yeah, we call him Veblo Papi.
There you go.
He died in the car accident in Lutheran.
Yes.
Man, I can't forget Veblo Papi, man.
They had Charlie to pitch against us.
Great pitcher.
Yes, and we knew if we can foul off a couple of his balls, we know we can hit a girl if she throws.
Yeah.
And so we were there working on our batting and trying to come around on the fast pitch.
Yeah.
And we got better and better and better. And by the time we went back to Belize,
Y'all was ready.
we won the gold medal. Yes, sir.
Wow.
We
that's
won.
That's a great turnaround.
We won the gold medal at the Caribbean at the Belize, the CAS tournament, we call it, Caribbean Amateur Softball Tournament.
Yeah.
And then we won the bronze medal. So we won a gold and a bronze medal in women's softball.
And now looking at that team, Mother Cynthia Pratt, the names that you call, did you all had ever at one point come together as a team to say, well, listen, we won that in 81. Now that it's 2013, but maybe almost 40 years later, as a team, we can get together and maybe go to church together or do something.
What actually I've been trying to do is that I've spoken with the minister, the former minister that is, which was Bannister.
Okay.
I wanted to try to get the team together because we're all still alive.
Right. Oh, that's a great thing.
We're all still alive. But not just that, is that these girls, their photographs should be somewhere. They are bronze medal winners at the World Games.
Yeah.
And their picture is nowhere. You come into the airport, they know we're there. You know.
Yeah, it should be some kind of recognition somehow or the other. Yeah.
No question about it. I remember Sir Gerald Cash was the Governor General. And on both occasions, we were at Government House. He had us up there to entertain us after we won our medal. And we came in. And was a short period of time between both of them. And he said, well, this looked like this getting to be a hobby here. So he was one of those who witnessed the time when we returned home with our medals.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that some of the girls can find their medals. Now, I have my bronze medal from the World Games, but I cannot find the gold medal. I don't know where in the world it is. I've looked for it. But I'm sure some of the other girls would have theirs, and they would have a record of who was on that team.
Yeah.
You see, and so I was trying to get the girls together so that we can come to Nassau and we can really speak to some of the teams, like the local teams we have now, some of the schools, go to our schools, and have just a week of activities, you know, to highlight these women who have done such a tremendous job. Because some of these ladies will never get the recognition. You know, people know Mother Pratt, but Mother Pratt is only one.
Indeed.
One of the many, and there are some of those who you would never hear their names called. And so I would like these girls to be recognized because they've earned it. They have put this country on the map, and some of them have retired now. They're out of action, but we owe it to them so that their names would be written somewhere.
I can agree with you 110%. I think for the most part here in this country, we don't give the athletes, especially the athletes, we don't give them the kind of recognition that they deserve for some reason or the other, you know. And to me, maybe I don't know the logistics of it, but it's like something in my mind that's so easy to be done. And when I say that, I mean there's something you could come up with an idea to say, build a wall, a Hall of Fame wall or something.
It's so simple.
And let's this year for basketball, that for baseball, and just have a wall and people could just pass by and look at it and look at some of the names. And because a lot of people mention that same thing. You remember Showtime when we were third in the world in women's softball and third in the world in men's softball, you know, and today
such an achievement, and you see it nowhere.
No, I'm telling you,
it's nowhere. You know, we talk about track and field. Yes, that's fine in its place. But the first medal won by females in the Bahamas is the women's softball team.
Yeah.
First medal, international medal, first one.
Wow.
But also, I would like to also mention that there are some women today who have given not just to softball, but some of them might not be able to play, but they were scorers.
Yeah.
They traveled with support of the teams. They helped to organize. They've been around the sport, all like Judy Hamilton. Judy Hamilton has given up.
Indeed.
I think about people like that.
I watched Judy Hamilton run the Bahamas Government Departmental Basketball Association single-handedly. And when I say that, yes, she had other people to assist and help. But every night she's out there and she's just working, keeping the league alive and doing certain things. And like you said, people like those, we need to somehow or the other find a way to show these people how much.
And the young lady out there in softball, slow pitch, out there in Delaport, her name, who
Tara Sweeting.
Tara.
Yeah.
Look at what Tara has given softball.
I don't want to say this and be negative by saying it, but somebody told me the other day, say Ivan, I was down by Bahamas Government Departmental Softball Association the other day, and what's happening? Nobody out there. They were saying they were supposed to play a game at 2. He came back at 2:00, still nobody there, and all this stuff. And he said, "Man, what happened to Tara?" And I said, "You know what? As far as I know, Tara doesn't run the league anymore." And he said, ever since Tara give up the league, for some reason, I'm not saying that the persons who are in charge are not doing a good job now. The league lost a whole lot.
There is a difference.
It's a big difference. And the support of the fans are not there. The players are not enthused like they used to be anymore. And I don't know. And mind you now, the Bahamas Government Departmental Softball Association, that was the league of the Bahamas. Everybody who could tell you about softball back in the day, they could tell you how exciting it was on the weekends to go down there at the Blue Hills playing field. But hopefully, things will revive and we'll see, some positive things as far as that goes.
I think, as far as sports is concerned in this country, we still do not give the kind of respect that it should be given to those persons who have made it to a certain level. And has, I often think of Elisha Obed. Elisha carried the banner of this country alone. He was a world champion. The one hope in the world for this Bahamas, he carried this alone. Who knows Elisha Obed? Okay. Leonard Boston, Blackie Miller. Boston has represented the Bahamas in boxing and cycling.
Yeah, indeed.
For years, when we had just a handful of international athletes. I looked at people who have been coaching all their life and sacrificing. And you know what I noticed the difference in? When I was in university, as college boy, I coached at the college level. And the respect shown to me in America as a coach. I mean, it is so encouraging when you walk into a place. The first thing they are, where is the coach? Because there are certain things you'll do for the coach, should respect shown to the coach. And when you get home, it's like
what coach?
You're nobody. That's how it appears, And I'd like to see things like that change because we don't seem to appreciate our own.
Boy, I tell you, you hit the nail on the head. But right now, listen, we got a quick break to go to. But when we come back, we could talk a little bit more about some of our athletes who've really represent this country well, and for some reason or the other, they're almost like they're forgotten. But we'll talk a little bit about that when we come back.
Sports Radio 103, all sports, all the time.
Screaming out more and more, 'cause I create the feeling that keep them them coming back. Yeah, I create the feeling that keep them coming back. So captivating when I get it on the floor. Know y'all been patient, you're waiting. I know you need me, I can feel it. I'm a beast, I'm an animal. I'm that monster in the mirror. The headliner, finisher.
I'm the closer,
winner. Best when under pressure with seconds left for sure. If you really want my
welcome back, everybody. Ivan Showtime. I'm still here with Mother Pratt, and we're still talking sports. The phone lines, by the way, it's still open, 676-4153, 676-4199. Now, Mother Pratt, you've been taking me down memory lane. You talk about the JFK days. You mentioned all the wonderful folks that used to be down at the park. One of the questions that I asked you earlier, and you didn't get to directly, but I was asking you about the different flavor as it relates, especially to softball. Now, we've seen it in other sports like basketball, baseball, but especially softball. There was a time when fans couldn't wait to go to softball. If there's a game that night, you had to talk about it all day, all on the radio. This is going to happen, and everybody just gearing up for that night, that the game was going to be down at the JFK Park. What really happened to all of that excitement that used to be years gone by?
I think the change has to be that back then we were more competitive than they are today. I notice to us it was like we eat, sleep, drink, softball.
Yeah.
And so the competition was so keen.
Yeah.
People enjoyed coming down because this was a war.
Yeah.
All right. I think what I have seen, I think I went down about twice since I retired. Sad to say, but I just don't have the time anymore. And what I saw in terms of performance, it ain't to that level. We seem to have regressed. And I just couldn't believe it. Because when I look at results coming in from countries like St. Kitts and Nevis, and they weren't even in the same league with us. We didn't even play them because you had to play at a certain level to compete against the Bahamas at the time, and I played. And so now we're going to these little countries, and they're beating us. I mean, stopping us in 10-zip. And I said, what has happened to us? But I noticed that we have not improved. Over the years, like as the older players start to phase out, the younger players didn't have the same skill, and I believe that has to do with the dedication and commitment to the player themselves. You see, I don't know if because the attitude of the players back then, we didn't have that much distractions. Just look at what is happening today.
It's a different ball game altogether.
Totally. The athlete back then always seek to be better, and they were always they could take correction. This generation today, you try to correct them and they quit.
They take it personal.
Yes, and they don't want to try to compete. To get better, they wouldn't work on the game. We would work on our game because we knew that if we didn't perform, there was always somebody else to take our place. Right. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But even so, I think when we look at the kind of coaches we had back then at the time as well, Baylor, Jim Wood, they're the people who I knew during my time who were really the coaches of the women's national team. They were serious about winning. And the players themselves knew that they had to be on time. They had to be prepared to work hard because there was no playing around. There were, the old people said trifling. You know, no.
Don't come here to trifle.
You don't come here to trifle. And so what really happened is that because there were other people who were able to perform, you knew that you had to be better than the next man if you want to make this team.
You're competing for your job.
Exactly. Because we still have Family of Islands. It's not just New Providence. It's Grand Bahama. We had a number of girls out of Eleuthera, Emily Petty and those. They would, and of course Liz Roberts out of Freeport. Liz used to be one of our better pitchers at one time too. And so all of these people, they had, a lot of these girls were married with families. and they wanted to be a part of the team. I was married, I mean, a lot of us were married with families. Our children would be down there, especially when we had the big game. Kalina against Appleton. They'd go outside the fence and see if mummies can hit the ball out the park. You know? But the thing is, I think it is because our dedication and commitment was such that we knew, listen, I have to make this team. We have to perform to our best because we represent our country. I don't know if we have that same attitude today. It's about, well, I'm doing them a favor. That's the kind of attitude I see displayed. And so I think when we look at what is happening around the parks, number one, we have to demonstrate that we are professionals. When I say professional in our behavior. Because even if you notice in the drinking of alcohol around the parks, you would never see a young lady during the time I was playing with a bottle in her hand. No, we would hide. I didn't say we didn't drink. I said with a bottle in her hand. You see, you slide in the little bushes and you take your little sip. You know, and you come back out, you wipe your mouth as though they can't smell it. You know, and that's because we had respect about ourselves, and I think that had a lot to do with it, because we knew that the focus was on us, and our children were there, our husbands were there, and all of this made us who we are in terms of representing softball, and that's why people came down to watch. But if we carried on like thugs, with the fans looking, you won't get them to come out again. You see,
you're quite right.
And so I think a lot had to do with what product we had to sell. We had to sell ourselves, and softball was a product. And so people were coming. I mean, we had white and black coming down. And because you remember Matey Martinborough and all of those.
Yes, I remember Matey.
Yes, we had so many of them. We would always go out to the keyboard lounge after the game.
Right on Bay Street there by the Sheridan.
That was the thing.
Oh, yeah. You know? I remember that. Now, that was the days after 3J's, after 3J Swingers.
3J.
They came later.
The
right?
Swingers, no, the Swingers were there too, but they came. Yeah, they came a little later because they won when we sat on Southern Recreation Grounds. They came a little later.
A little later.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. I think Martinborough coached one of those ladies.
Yes, Martinborough had a team as well, and Ronald with Ronald Major. You remember Ronald Major and short Ronald. He used to coach Bex a lot.
Ronald Major.
Yeah, Ronald, little short Ronald. He drives a bus. He was the coach, but Matey used to coach keyboard. You remember they had the keyboard men team. They didn't have any ladies team.
That was Jackie Wright and those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Keyboard was tough. Now.
Yeah, they were tough.
I think
Colin Knowles. They used to call him
Clint Walker.
No.
I mean Clint Eastwood. They used to call him with the
Josie Wills.
Josie Wills. That was Clint Eastwood.
That used to be one of the toughest pitches we had back then.
Oh yes.
It was a joy to watch him against teams like the Budweiser Eagles with Richard Johnson.
That's right.
And then they had the tenant strikers. They had guys like Vida Blue and Haston Campbell. I think he was with tenant strikers, if I'm not mistaken. Boy, they used to be some great games back then.
I mean, when whoever scored the first run, you know that it was tough to. It would be 1-0 or 2-1. And then of course, you had great fielders. Who could play defense, and so you had Bud Hyland and all them, Poker and all those. First
baseman. I think he played with Spotless Cleaners at the time. I think Spotless Cleaners was
Adline Morse and all of those.
The second baseman.
Exactly.
Adline Morse and Keith Butler was the top up the middle guys. They said nobody in the league turned over more double plays than those two guys. And I think they played on the national team when we were second, third in the world.
I can't remember who. I'm sure Keith was there.
Yeah, back in Wichita, I think it was. Kansas.
Yes, they were in Wichita.
I was just a little fella, but I could remember these things. Guys, 6764153, 6764199. Now, Mother Cynthia Pratt, I know you have other things you got to do, but we're going to go over the break. But stay with us just a little while longer, and let's kind of bring it home, so to speak, because there's some other things I would want us to talk about before you leave. All right, appreciate you, man. Anyway, guys, listen, we can take a quick break, 17 minutes after the hour. When we come back, of course, we can do our last portion with Mother Cynthia Pratt, and I'm still trying to think about the name that we can give Mother Cynthia Pratt. We'll take a break and be back after this.
More, cause I create the feeling that keep them coming back. Yeah, I create the feeling that keep them coming back.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm in Showtime, and yes, we still have Mother Cynthia Pratt in the studio with us. And well, I tell you, Mother Pratt, it's been a wonderful evening. I mean, we went down memory lane. We talk about the old time JFK, and of course, you talk about some of the older players that you played with, and just sitting back and reminiscing, man, it kind of, threw me in that direction. And then I always have a portion of my show, what I call taking you back, some of the times that when it used to be this and it used to be that, and of course, all the changes that we went through. But let me just ask you, Mother Pratt, what did the sport of basketball done for you? I mean, you played so many years. What did the sport of basketball done for you?
Basketball is more than a sport. I think a lot of people who do not know, they might just see the game played, but it's more than a sport. It prepares one for life.
Indeed.
If we look at basketball is a team game. It would teach you how to be a team player, to work along with people. It also teach you discipline. There's something called rules.
Yeah.
And you have to play according to the rules.
Yes.
And so if you are told by your coach, I want you to shoot a layup shot. Now, you could be wide open and listen, I got this right here. I could make this.
Yeah.
But that's not what he said. He said he wants a layup shot. So if you don't shoot the layup shot, you will be sitting on the bench beside him just after the whistle blows.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you did not follow instructions.
Yeah.
It prepare you for the job. When your boss said, listen, I want you to do it this way. No, but boss, see, this is a shorter way and I could get it done. But that's not what the boss said.
Exactly.
So that is what basketball would teach you, how to be disciplined and follow instructions. Thirdly, there's a time for you to appear to practice. Practice is at 5 o'clock. It's not at 5:15. Game time is 5 o'clock. It's not 5:15.
Yeah.
So if you arrived at the time you feel like arriving, you sit on the bench beside the coach.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with your job. You must be to work at 9 o'clock. You reach at 9:15 every morning. It will not be long before you'd be
out of a
on
job.
Walk Street and Company. you understand?
Yeah.
Then, of course, there's a uniform. You have a dress code. You must come in the white top with the green pants, white socks. Well, you came with black socks and a blue shirt. Well, of course, you are not a part of this team.
Yeah.
And so if you have a job and the job has a uniform code, you must go in the uniform that is provided by the company, not by what you want to wear. And so that's why basketball prepares you for life. Because you have to follow the rules, you have to play by the rules, and you have to govern yourselves accordingly. And so I felt that basketball for me has made me who I am. Today, the little that I know about working with people, because you must also realize that the basketball team is made up of a captain. It's only one captain, not 2, 3.
Yeah.
So it's just one chief. The rest are Indians. You understand?
I understand.
And so, many of us want to be the chief. You could only listen to one person. And so when the coach says something, that's what the coach says. You can't do what you want to do. And so you must learn how to adjust yourself to work with the team and follow instructions. And so basketball, in a nutshell, prepares you for life. And so you'd be able to grow, become a team player, become somebody with discipline, somebody who respects the other person, and be able to listen to what they have to say, and also make room for the ones who are coming up and show them respect as well. Wow. That's what basketball does.
Wow. Boy, that's some deep stuff. Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, now that you're retired now, have the thought of coming back into maybe the ministry, whether it's for a consultant to the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture, mainly because the reason why I ask you this now, I know sports has been a pivotal part of your life, basically all your life. And listening to you, of course, I know the experience that you have. You talk about working with the police. What's the name of the working with
Urban
Renewal
yes,
and all that. I know that you have a lot to give as it relates to some of the programs that we have. Have you ever thought about maybe coming back as a consultant or anything like that?
It has really never crossed my mind. I think because I have so many bits and pieces of my life, so many different things that I really want to do. I like working with the community, trying to get people to think differently, to believe that they are somebody, to want to change and improve, make something of their life that's positive. Whether it's through sports, whether it be through other means, that's really where my heart is. I know that I do not have the time any longer to be able to go to a park and gather kids together, because there are so many other things that I have responsibility for at this point in my life. But I would like to see more persons get involved in trying to build the communities, maybe through sports.
Yeah.
But that's only one avenue.
Yeah.
See, my brother, if we can, I'm hoping I say this right because I don't want to offend anyone, but I believe that if we are serious about building a nation, we must have a heart for the people. We must show that we are willing to sacrifice, because I know if I don't help to reach these young boys, they will soon reach me.
Yeah.
By one way or another. There are persons in the community that have the wherewithal, that can sponsor a little league team. 10 little boys, maybe around the age of 8, 9 years old, who are on the streets throwing rocks up at the lamp pole. And
nothing to do.
You understand what I'm saying? And they have the wherewithal. And if they would come forward and say, listen, what can I do to help these kids? You'll find there are others who would come out of the woodwork who say, well, I have the skill to teach them, but I don't have the resources. But you have the resources, so we could put it together and we could take these little brothers off the streets and start to do something positive. Sometimes it isn't all about money. If we have the people who are willing to come together with ideas, you'll find eventually there are persons who are looking on and they'll say, I see what you're doing. I've had many people come forward and say, Mother Pratt, I see what you're doing. Listen, I have this, I want to give so and so. Because they see your effort. If we begin, you'll be surprised to know who would come forward and assist. But I would very much, if I had some younger years left in me, I would think about going back into sports and helping. But I am involved in the church now, and so my efforts when I'm not in the community, I'm in the church.
Okay.
And so I think a lot is on my plate, but I would very much like to give any kind of assistance that I can give, and even ideas, because I do sometimes have a lot of ideas, because I still maintain, if we are serious about the little brothers who love to fight, some of them, they wouldn't grace the classroom for long. You understand what I'm saying?
They won't fight.
Right. But if we can spend some money and set up boxing arenas in different areas where we could harness that energy, where you could see other countries do it. We could take these little boys and teach them how to fight in an organized way. And these same boys will become leaders. Their whole attitude will begin to change because they realize, listen, I'm a part of building something here. Man, I can't carry on the way I used to before. And you would find they would go out and get some of the other brothers who love to fight. And we could harness that energy in a boxing program all over this country. But it will take money. It will take money. But it can be done. And you will find a lot of the violence will be decreased because some of these little ones will grow into being monsters. And if we could catch them early, I guarantee you will begin to see the change. It can happen. If it happened for other countries, why can't it not happen for us? You see? Right. And so these are the things that I often think about. We like to talk about, well, we don't have the money. Some things, if we just get started, the money will come after a while because people will see what we are doing.
Boy, I tell you, Mother Cynthia Pratt, words of wisdom. I hope we're listening in, man. Mother Pratt, but I want to personally thank you. I know you got to be on your way, but I want to personally thank you for stopping by, and it's been a pleasure. And I want to let you know that my doors are always open. Anytime you find the need to want to stop by and, chat for a few minutes or something like that, feel free. I see the lines are all lit up. Let's take a call before you go. I guess one or two persons might want. Good evening, Sports Radio.
How you doing, Ivan?
Hey, good, man. How you doing?
Boy, right here. This is the Insider.
Hey, Insider, how you doing, man? This is one of my regular callers.
The conversation is so sweet. Some kind of conversation you don't call into. You just got to listen, man.
I understand.
Just got to listen, man. You never met Cynthia Pratt, but anytime I hear about her, it was from the sporting aspect. When I hear about her, I always get this goosebump like, she's the mother of all children in the Bahamas. You wouldn't need no police force. You wouldn't need nothing.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Good citizens.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
When you look at it, we had a father of the nation, which is the Bahamas is so blessed. Now we have the mother of the nation.
Yes.
Boy, we are a blessed nation.
I'm telling you, man.
To hear this conversation today, man, Ivan, man, this is what you call a sweet conversation to listen to. I had to make my cup of tea and sit down and cross my legs because I couldn't call in. As much as I want to call in, but I had to call in before she leaves.
Thank you.
The people of Angleton, thank you, and the Bahamian citizens of the Bahamas, thank you for what you have done for us.
Thank you so much.
Politician and as a sport advocate in the country.
Thank you so much, sir.
We must tell you thanks now. Can't let you, before you're dead, say, when you're dead, we're going to tell you these things. I never met you, so I would like to tell you thanks on behalf of my family.
Thank you so much.
The people of the Bahamas.
Thank you so much.
The conversation is enlightening and is educational.
Thank you so much.
There's one thing I like to say about the urban renewal program that I find interesting. I hope that it gets into the sport aspect of it heavily.
Yes, that's what we intend to do. That's what we intend to do.
For we all galvanize the basketball, but softball and baseball, these are things in the inner community that we get it. Because everybody played runs one time.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right.
I would like to see us use the. Because, when you go to these far out places, if you live in Angleton, you always complain that you ain't got a ride or it's too far. You ain't want to go. But that Aaron Bailey Park, that should be used instrumentally in this country.
Exactly.
For sports like softball in the nighttime or thing. Because it galvanizes a lot of citizens that drive by, that goes to the mall, and that will pique the interest of certain sports like softball and baseball.
That's right.
At the junior level. You might want to use the elder, the senior guys, but if you use it at the junior level where it can galvanize the parents, it's closer to the mall.
Yes.
And you can see a lot of activities, and it will lead on to people then being more active in the community and want to put a team to go there and play like Angleton and all the other surrounding areas like Montelites and all of them. Because it's very close in their community and they could easily be accessible to reach it.
Yes.
I know there's only one point I'd like to drop in on that note for you.
Yes,
when you get to
appreciate
that level inside the renewable, that they could see that park could be used in Angleton for that type of purpose.
Very good thought. Very good thought.
But we thank you. And the conversation, Ivan, you outdone yourself today, Ivan.
Thank you,
man. A legend. I mean, all that pressure. Marcellus, them, I don't know, the Rick Foxes and everything, but the icon on today.
Yes.
So I can sit down and go finish. Listen, Ivan, you do yourself today.
Okay, buddy. Appreciate you, man.
Go
ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me just say this. I don't know if we realize the importance of sports in this country, what it does for people, for a country, for a community. Listen, you're a young boy, but I can remember when South Africa, South Africa was having their apartheid problem?
Yeah.
It was their football team that brought that entire country together. They forgot they were fighting between black and white.
Yeah, one soccer ball.
Yes, sir. And when that team started to win, everybody started to cheer because they realized that they were one.
Yeah.
And that is what brought that country together.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, we downplay sports, but sports is such a powerful tool that will bring neighbors together. You know, there was a time when we saw athletes, and I grew up at that era when people saw athletes as with all bronze and no brain. I don't know, you're too young to remember, but that's the way they kind of termed us.
Of it,
Yes, you know, or they could play, but they don't have anything
between.
Yes, between the ears, okay?
Yeah.
Today, if we look at most of the United States presidents, they all were athletes.
Yeah.
They were all athletes. Most leaders around the world were athletes.
Yeah. Well rounded.
Yes, sir. I am saying to the young boy down there, some of them, they're not the brightest in the books. But you know what? I keep saying to them, it's not where you begin.
Yeah.
It's where you end. I keep saying and encouraging them, they might not be the quickest when it comes to adding up figures.
Yeah.
They might have to count with their fingers.
Yeah.
The bottom line is they'll get it right in the end.
Exactly.
They might take a little slow, but they'll get it right. So we have to encourage them to let them know, listen, you will make it one day if you keep pressing forward.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone discourage you, because our problem is, Ivan, is that we like to focus on the negative too much, man. If we just focus on 1% of the positive of this young man, but he has 99% negative.
But focus on the
but he has 1% positive. Let's focus on the 1%. Let's highlight that.
Yeah.
Encourage him, and you know, eventually that 1% will become 10, then 20, because he will finally realize somebody believes in me.
Yeah.
But if we keep saying, you'll never amount to none. You look at you, how bad. You only got 4 right out of 20. Let's focus on the 4.
Yeah.
Encourage him and say, boy, I know the next time I know you get about 10, 20, man. And you got 4 right this time. You see, instead of saying you're dumb, look how many you got wrong. I'm saying athletes are different levels. Some are better than others. But don't discourage the one who's just struggling. Encourage him too. Let him know that he could get better. It will be up to him to commit himself to what he wants. See, I've come from a poor family. And it was because of the prairie grounds. That's where I hung out. Sometimes you pass your Vestry Hill St. Francis Church.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
That's where I practically grew up. And if you pass here sometimes, Father had to cut the light off at nights, and I was still up there, and we're shooting the ball in the dark.
In the dark.
You hear what I'm saying? Little girl. Because mother was in the market.
Yeah.
No, what's the use of going home? There's no food. There's nothing there. I might as well stay here. But those were the days when nobody molested you. They
look out for you.
Yes, sir, we were one.
Yeah.
You see? And so today, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we be more encouraging and be more uplifting and more motivating to one another, we could do a lot of things that we thought we couldn't do in a positive way. And we will get people to show respect one to another instead of criticizing, encourage. That is one thing we lack in this country, and that bothers me, because we always seem to dwell on the negative
things.
And there's so many positive things that's happening.
Boy. Food for thought. Anyway, Mother Pratt, again, thank you so much for stopping by, and continue to do your thing. Like you said, now you're in the church, and of course, earlier I was asking the young lady, I said, now, I'm gonna have to say some things about Mother Pratt. She said, boy, well, you can probably be there all day saying those things because of the impact, the influence that she had on so many people. I mean, I could start naming all the Patty Johnson, all these girls that you personally, and I don't want to just go overboard with it, but you personally assist them in trying to get off to college. And I mean, there are so many guys and girls that could say today, Mother Pratt was so instrumental in me getting an education, getting a degree or whatever the case may be.
But, you know, Ivan, it was because I was concerned about our nation.
Right.
If we were to look back in the 80s, the 70s, very few of us had a privilege of getting a college education.
Yes.
Because our parents were poor.
We couldn't afford it.
No money.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't have the brain, they just didn't have the money.
Money, yeah.
Okay. And so when I saw a kid that was able to run or jump or play, but they had good grades, that was an opening for me to try to get this kid off, because I know he or she will eventually come back home. It's about building our country.
Yeah.
You see, and if we look at our leaders, I won't call their name, but many of our leaders today were recipients of an education because the Lord had allowed me to be able to assist. I'm saying that somebody helped me. Tom Grant was the person who came in search of me.
Yeah.
He didn't have to come to me. He could have gone to someone else.
Yes.
But he came to me. I was a married woman with a house full of children when I went to college.
Wow.
And so I am saying to many mothers today, because many mothers have said to me they've been following my life. I didn't know that.
Oh, indeed.
And it encouraged them to go back to school, because I was 34 years of age sitting in classrooms with 17-year-old kids that I could be their parents.
Yeah.
You see? But I knew that I had to accomplish my journey. I had to complete my journey. I must return home. I was offered a job to remain in North Carolina. The university wanted to hire me.
Yeah.
I knew I had to come home. My job was not finished home. I left a husband back there. I left all my children. But they offered my husband a job just to get me to stay. I said, no, I have to return home.
Yeah, boy.
I knew there was a work for me to do. So many of our young men and women today went off to university and they came back home because they knew they had a job to do to help to build this country. It's all of us, Ivan.
Yes.
You see, we can say Sir Lyndon is the father of the nation, but Sir Lyndon had many help.
Yeah.
Many persons who came on board. When we look at all of our other leaders, Perry Christie, Hubert Ingram, they were all prime ministers. They all have help from the people. And if we don't have people who are qualified to assist, they would not be successful, because no man is an island.
Exactly.
You can't do it alone. Sir Lyndon was the father of the modern Bahamas. And we look at a lot of the team players around him helped to bring this country to what it is today. So we must give credit where credit is due, because we all played a role.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we look at Sir Lyndon, but there were many others too.
Yeah.
Sir Stafford Sands, when we look at the US dollar, don't forget, he was the one to change the money. You see? And it still exists today. So we have to give credit to the people who have performed in this country and brought us to where we are. But sports is a mighty tool that I know could change the way we think, the way we behave. And don't forget God in all of this.
Yeah.
Because back then, I don't care what sport we play. When Sunday came,
you gotta go to church.
It wasn't a matter of whether you were going to church. It was a matter of getting ready, because that's where you're going. Everybody.
Yeah.
And so that is what kept us as a nation.
Yeah.
God. God first, and everything else
comes
afterwards.
Oh. Boy, I tell you, folks, if you would have told me about it, I wouldn't have believed it. Mother Cynthia Pratt. That's going to do it for this portion of the show. Of course, we're going to go to a break. But again, Mother Cynthia Pratt, as always,
thank you so much.
I appreciate you. I love you, and continue to do your thing, man.
God bless you, man.
All right.
Keep on pressing on.
Okay, thank you so much for stopping by. We got another call? Mother Pratt, you want to take that one? Let's take it. Okay, good evening, Sports Radio.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm all right. Mother, how you doing?
Doing fine, thanks.
This Bishop A.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, why that's the secret of the bag?
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know. My bad. I'm sorry, Bishop.
Hey, Bishop, what's your OG? Yeah, my boy, yeah. You know, I forgot to call your name, man. Boy, listen, it's a senior moment, eh?
Yeah.
It's a senior moment.
No, man. This Chris, man.
This Chris? Oh, this Chris.
Bro,
oh, okay. I thought it was Bishop.
No, this is the mayor from 3rd Street.
Yes.
Yeah, mother, as you start talking about them old days, it brought back the
yes,
memories.
boy, yes.
Because, when they brought y'all on the start in 71,
yes,
I was the only descendant person on the committee who didn't agree for ladies to play while men were playing. And guess what? Y'all came and took the show.
Yes, sir, we sure did.
So on the Tribune Blazers and
exactly
playing on the Sunday evening.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Up on the cliff, man, everybody leaving the dinner to come see that show.
That's
true.
Y'all
put on the show, and Wood Club started with 4 teams, then they went to 8 teams,
exactly.
then they went to 12 teams.
That's
in 3 years' time, you had a full slate.
Yes,
you got to go in divisions.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, yeah, and y'all brought it. And matter of fact, the level of play y'all brought then ain't been playing now.
This is what we were talking about.
You don't let me go to JFK and look at some of y'all old
my
films.
God, I said, my Lord.
And you know what upset me a great deal, madam, a great deal. More people play softball in Bahamas than any other sport, all other sport put together.
Yeah.
And so many people don't come to give back.
That's true. You're right about that.
It's 4 rules you can play. If you have some money, you can sponsor the team.
You can sponsor.
If you have a time, you can manage the team.
That's true.
If you don't have much time, you can coach.
Yeah.
You can have coaching, or you can just be a fan. You don't have to come to the park every day.
You're right.
But when I see people like Donnie Lockett and who, people who deep in the church and Denzel Clark, they come to the park, going out few bleachers and sit down and just watch the level of the game that's being played.
Yes.
Man, it brings joy to me, man, because we talk a
yes.
whole lot of people.
Oh, yes. You're right about that, Chris.
The other day I met one of the former national team players, a guy who played a national team and then all over the world. He never could afford to go of his own. And I asked him last he been to the park. He's been to the park in 17 years.
My Lord.
I felt like crying.
My Lord.
He ain't been to the park in 17 years. Softball took him all about the Canada and all through Central America and the world cups and all them kind of places.
Yes.
All over the world. You just forget something that did so much for you and that's something that you love so much.
That's true.
How could you fall off like that?
You're right. Giving back, Chris. Giving back.
Yeah, gotta come get him time.
Yes, that is
all. But man, another thing that stirred me a lot, the level of investment we put in sports, that upsets me a whole lot.
Okay.
In 72, 73, all you had to do is go to sponsors, well, he's sending an national team away. And I mean, of course, in economic times, won't hardly allow that now, and it costs too much to travel.
Right.
And in 2 weeks' time, you had enough sponsors to send the whole team away. Nowadays, the team about to go on Monday and up to Friday, they ain't getting the money. People already got the vacation plan and got to arrange to have the babysitter. And they ain't sure the team even going. Now, I never thought that 40 years, 43 years later,
that's true.
We'd still be going through this kind of thing. That upset me a lot.
That's true.
Because when we have the Lucha trip coming,
oh, yeah.
Man, look here, you're going to trip for championship next weekend. You don't have to worry. Make arrangements. And the following week, Lucha could play night and hide their gate, and Lucha come to Nassau. What's the matter where Lucha come and they have the funds and all that? Just the level of the sport and the competition was so stiff.
Yes.
Man, if you didn't get the JFK in time, prepare to war.
There was no sitting room. Yeah, standing room only.
Yeah.
You are so right.
But still, there are 3 players. I won't call no name. 3 players who played during your era.
Yes.
That I don't see anybody can match you all right now, and you're one of them. I hate to call your name, but I know you want. You one of 3. You want 2 other players. Yeah. Nobody I've seen in the ladies play softball at that level.
Bishop,
and that brought the game up and brought fans to the park in hundreds.
Exactly.
Bishop, you could call Naomi Ellison.
No. See, I let you call it. You're responsible for that. You can't Bishop call it with the 3 of them. Anyway, man, have a good time.
Man, it's
thanks
good
for coming
to
on and keeping the fire alive.
Yes, man. Thanks a lot.
They're trying to back softball on the side, but softball did more. Men softball played knows baseball's around.
That's true.
Your big brother took care of you when you had nothing to do.
That's true. That's true.
But the 2 of them could coexist. The 2 could coexist.
Oh, yes.
They did back then, and
they did.
Andrew Rogers played softball.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the greatest baller the Bahamas has ever seen. He played softball.
Oh, yes.
Once he left the amateur rule, Andrew was on the ground playing softball. And he's great in all of these other players that we have right now. Andrew Rogers, a starter in the Major League for 8 years.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, man. Good to hear you.
Okay, Bishop. Boy, I tell you. Now, Bishop was one of the founders from back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he's still around now doing some things.
He has paid his dues. He has paid his dues.
Like he said,
that's sacrifice. That's what I'm talking about right now.
You got to give back.
Giving back.
Mother Pratt, again, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. All the best. Continue to do well.
God bless you.